Between a grade 2 student, a grade 5 student, and a grade 9 student, or a level D student, a B student, or an A-star student, the single thing that separates all three of these people is their ability to manage their time. Just as the difference between like an average entrepreneur and a top 1% business owner, it's all about how they manage their time. Why? Because there are a few things in this world that are fair. Life isn't that fair. But there is one thing, and that's time. Because time doesn't discriminate, regardless of who you are. Everyone is given 24 hours in a day. So the guy who like smoked you in the exam, has the best grades, just used his time better. He didn't like hack to get like 36 hours in a day. He just had the same amount of time as you. So it's all a question about time management. It's the most important skill for students. And mastering this will make you a frighteningly good student. I saw this motivational TikTok a while back, and it says something like this.
You wake up every day with $84,600 in your bank account. And every day, at the end of the night, it's gone, whether you wasted it or not. And then the next day, you get another $84,600.
What do you do with that money? You try to spend it as much as possible, right? You do everything you can to make the most of that money. You're going to try like buy everything, make the smartest investments, right? Exactly, because that's how many seconds in the day you get. There's a reason that when we refer to time, we call it spending or investing time. Because you have to invest time into studying to get the good grades. You have to invest time in a certain area to get the results. But the thing is, I sucked at it for the longest time. I do shadow tasks that take up a lot of time, and I just have nothing to show at the end of like my study sessions. I'd spend hours upon hours on social media, wasting away. I just read over notes and do the worst possible actions with my time. I was quite literally like making the worst investments possible. But after some targeted steps, everything changed. I was studying 1 to 2 hours a day, going to the gym every single day, playing the piano, sleeping 8+ hours each day, and doing what I like to, all during exam season. Sounds too good to be true, but it's true. Cal Newport, the author of How to Be a Straight A Student and also Deep Work, reported that he used to literally go to the library and pretend to study because that's how efficient his study sessions became when he learned how to manage his time effectively. I read Eat That Frog, That One Thing, First Things First, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Make Time, The Bullet Journal, The Procrastination Cure, The Now Habit Flow, and Do Nothing, and The 4-Hour Work Week to make this very video. And I will teach you everything you need to know about time management as a student. Chapter 1 is about priorities and setting goals. Out of all these books, the unanimous thing that all the authors agreed upon, that you should focus on a major priority each day. Time is there for everyone, but you can't hone it into a specific activity or task if you don't have a priority. Sunlight is everywhere, and sure, like it's hot on a sunny day, but when you get a magnifying glass and you direct all that sunbeam into like a concentrated point, that's when it becomes a weapon of mass destruction. You can cause fires, you can literally slice through anything. You have to start doing that with your time. You have to concentrate it and make it powerful. Each day you should make it as specific as possible what it is you want to get done. Before I did this effectively, for my end of years, my goals for the day were just revise maths, history, and biology. For my GCSEs, it was to complete the 2022 past paper for maths and redo the mistakes. It was to learn all the dates for history for the Cold War, and it was to memorize all the food tests for biology. Suddenly, I know what I have to direct my time into, and because not only is specifics, I'm actually going to see results in those areas because I'm concentrating my time into it. It's actually far more efficient because revising is very vague. I don't know if I finished that or completed that, but now I know specifically once I've like memorized the dates, I'm done. Brian Tracy says that you should always use the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule is called Pareto's principle, and it says that 20% of like your actions equates to 80% of the results, whereas 80% of your actions, the stuff that you do, only actually equate to 20% of your outputs. An analogy I really like to use is YouTube. The 20% of tasks that give me 80% of the results are just scripting, recording, and filming. If I just do those and don't care about anything else, I'll get 80% of the results because I'm posting videos. And of course, if I like optimize my channel banner, my profile picture, I start posting shorts, I start doing like the tags, the SEO, I start like spending loads of time on my thumbnails, those will give me 20% of the results, but they will take up majority of my time. So it's actually the 20% of the processes that lead me to the majority of my results. And so when you're studying, do the one thing that will give you most of your results. Past papers and practicing the test will always give you 80% of the results. And then highlighting the notes, textbooks, watching documentaries, or however else you learn, only give you 20% of that increase in output. The way you find your 20% task, or your frog task as Brian Tracy calls it, is to ask yourself the one thing question. What's one thing that if you did, would make everything else easier or unnecessary? For studying, past papers remove the need for notes, highlighting, and learning content because you can revise straight off the master scheme and test your knowledge and actively put your knowledge to the test. I recently brought the YouTuber Ruff on to Student Accelerator to do an interview, and he said the number one thing holding students back is when they don't have a clear goal and they don't know what the important task is. Success or results in everything looks like this, an exponential curve. You have to invest a certain amount of time to see the results, and knowing where to direct your time makes you unstoppable because you grind onto that one curve and see the exponential results. The reason that you see like all those people who like study 8 hours a day but spread it thin across many different things don't see results is because they're spending like this amount of time on each one. So actually, although they're spending a lot of time, the results actually come from sticking to one and putting it all the way through, as you can see from this graph. Make sure initially you are investing the correct amount of time to actually see the results, and also make sure you're doing the most efficient tasks so that you can see most of the results. The second chapter is making a plan. Planning is crucial. Nothing great ever happened without a plan. Someone probably said that, right? Like, that wasn't a quote, I just like made that up, you know? Brian Tracy says that 10 minutes to plan your day each day can save as much as 2 hours wasted in time and effort. I think Abraham Lincoln, he said a quote something like, if I was given 2 hours to cut a tree, I'll spend like the first 30 minutes sharpening my axe. Preparation saves so much time when you're actually doing an action. A plan is important because of 2 reasons. You can follow it and you have a clear view of what to do, but you can also track where you are. When I didn't plan my days, I wouldn't know if I had a productive day or not. I didn't know what to do, and so I wasn't able to use my time well. Few people plan, but it's actually simple. Write down everything you have to do that day, and like as the day comes up, start ticking them off. But inevitably, you'll also start to add things onto your list as well, because like this came up and you actually have to do that. The traditional to-do list is outdated because, as Brian Tracy says, to-do lists are merely survival lists, whereas success lists are a path to your goals. So for each day, what I'm starting to do now is to write down a success list. For me, if I go to the gym, I do 2 sets of deep work, I do my daily run, I practice piano. That day is a win for me. Write down the tasks that if you got done would make that day a win for you. The mistake that a lot of people make is that they see all the stuff like me or like more productive people do. They try to copy their win day, but your win day will look different to mine and other people. If you didn't study for an entire day, but you said like, if I study for like 10 minutes today, that's gonna be a win. That is a big win because you went from not studying at all to doing something. And you have to progressively overload. That's how you make progress in the gym. 60 kg may be tough for a beginner, but after that becomes easy, you have to keep upping the weight to like increase your level of a win. For like Elon Musk, I imagine like his day isn't a win unless he makes like £1 million, right? But for you, write down what your win day is. If you achieve that, that's a win, and make sure to keep adding onto that. The beauty of a success list is that it all aligns with your priorities, because your biggest win that would make the most difference and impacts around your life, that's what you're making your success list around, right? It's also quite easy to see what your priority is for that season. For example, since like on my list there's like going to the gym every day and going on a run, you can see that since like school's over, like fitness and like YouTube, that's kind of more my priorities, and my success list reflects that, so you can always tweak it and make it a match to your goals. You have to be firm with your priorities because your brain picks up really fast. For example, if it's like you planned out to have like a deep work session right now, but your friend asks you like, do you want to hop on like Valorant? If you say yes to that, your brain will automatically lower the priority of studying down a notch because you've sacrificed something else for it. So you have to respect your own priorities because it can only actually become a priority if you believe in it. So how do you do this? You have to prove it to your brain. When like someone offers you to do something else instead of that, you say no and you stick to that. And doing that repeatedly cements itself in your brain as a priority. Chapter 3, make time. But quickly, if you like what you're watching so far and you really want to like become that student, you might want to check out your Student Accelerator. It's my program that's helping students from all around the world become the best student that they can be. And if you want to find out more, click the first link in the description. But back to the video. A lot of students end up wasting time because they don't track it. What do you actually do with your time? The first step to saving time is to realize where it's lost the most. I read a study a while ago and it said like the average person has like loads of subscriptions that are draining them without them even knowing. So like that free trial signed up for, like the gym membership that you never use, or like that random like anime streaming service platform that you signed up for. Loads of adults like in the US, it was like the average person loses thousands each year through these like outlets of money that they didn't even realize they were losing. It's the exact same thing with your time. You have to realize that there's outlets of time that you're losing every single day without even realizing it. So the first step to doing it right now is just live a normal day like for the rest of today, or maybe start this tomorrow, and track what you do like for each time period. So for example, you wake up at 8 and then like you scroll for a bit and then you like go sit down to do some work, and then like you go downstairs, you watch on Netflix. Like the point is you schedule out and you kind of like make a consensus. You like write down what your day looks like right now, and now you can start to see that 10 minutes in the morning and like 30 minutes there doesn't seem like a lot because it's like isolated. But once you add them all together, you find like you're wasting like 5-6 hours on social media. You wasted an hour just like in between your lunch and like practicing piano because you wouldn't have known that before, but now because you like blocked it out, you can see visually where the gaps are. I learned this from David Goggins' book, which is called Can't Hurt Me. Is to write down your ideal day. My ideal day, for example, may look like this. I wake up at 6 a.m. and then I go for a run, come back, do a cold shower, then go straight into deep work. After 2 hours of deep work, I might have breakfast, then deep work again. I might have some time with like family, friends, but then afterwards I'm gonna like do some more work, go to the gym. The point is you block out what your ideal day looks like, and then you compare what your day actually looks like because you've done that as an action step, and then you compare it to what you want it to look like. And then every single week you make one change that reflects into that thing. And also the interesting thing is you also kind of get to see where you should be saving time. Notice how in your ideal thing you wouldn't have included like social media and like TikTok breaks or like Instagram breaks, right? And so that kind of shows you know that those things are bad and they wouldn't be a part of your ideal day. So why are they taking up like 3-4 hours of your time right now? So an easy step you can do is make one simple change. You're going to get rid of that 30-minute Instagram break between your lunch break. And 30 minutes like that, it's easy to remove because you didn't really even realize you were doing it in the first place. But 30 minutes saved every single day is a huge thing. Let me tell you a quick story. For me, every time I came home from the gym, I didn't even realize, but I was like going on my phone for 30 minutes, and 30 minutes every single day because I go to the gym every day is huge. And after I got rid of that, I realized how much time I had to spend actually making one change every week from your timetable right now to your ideal one. And that's how you start saving time and spending your time in the way that you want to. You can also use a Kanban, which is from the book The Personal Kanban. It's a Japanese term, which also is the exact same word in Korean, Kanban, fun fact for you. But anyway, it's a tool that Japanese automakers use to move through their workflow. Divide your page or wherever you want to set this up into 3: to do, doing, and done. This displays a task's entire life cycle. And so they all start in the to do and they move to doing and then done. For example, if you have an assignment, it might start in the to do, and then as you like work on it, you move it into the doing, and then once it's done, you move it to the done. And use it for a weekly basis. So every week, write down all the tasks you want to get done this week in the to do. But the catch is you can only have 3 tasks in the doing section at once. We all love starting tasks, but we never end up finishing them. And this is the number one cause of like procrastination and low motivation. Did you know that when you switch tasks and start a new one, it feels easier and it feels productive, but it increases the time it takes to complete that task by 4 times. Whereas if you just stick to the one you started and actually finish it to the end, so you focus on getting one of them from the to do, doing, and done, it takes half the amount of time it would have normally. So it's actually an 8 times difference if you like keep starting and stopping and switching tasks, whereas just focusing on one. For me, I'd always switch tasks, right? As I'm scripting a YouTube video, I'd realize like I didn't post a YouTube community post today, so I'd go and do that, but then I realized I forgot to like send an email today, so I'd also do that. And so I'd always switch tasks, and although technically I'm all doing the good tasks, whenever you move tasks into the to doing, your bandwidth gets split amongst all those, so your output actually gets much lower. And so once you restrict that you can only have 3 tasks in the to doing, it makes you focus on completing those, which actually increases dopamine when you complete a task, so you're more motivated, but you're also less likely to procrastinate, because when you have the task and you see like clearly where you need to get it done to, you end up just doing it. Whereas it's far more overwhelming where you have so many tasks that you have to do, because starting them like makes you feel like you're making progress, but actually it's really unproductive. Also with a Kanban, you're able to see all your tasks in one place, and you're able to see which ones aren't moving. For example, if your assignment was stuck in the doing section for a while, you're not able to start a new one, so you have to get that done. So it prevents you from like procrastinating a task. You're able to see which tasks aren't moving along, and you're able to see the bottlenecks of that activity. You get to see where your time is lost, and it creates a visual workflow, and it's easy to follow. The 4th chapter, stay on target. Once you start to implement all these habits, like I went through a lot of how to like manage your time, right? Once you start doing this and you make your ideal day, you start to see how much time you waste, and you start to become like hyper aware of everything that takes your ability off to use your time well. And you see all these bad habits that actually aren't a part of your priority. It will take practice and an active act of consciousness to do the right things, but here are some ways to make it easier. The easiest way to stay on target is to master your digital distractions. For me, this is like a crazy story, but I use this every time I want to describe like procrastination and digital distraction. I'm listening to classical music like during studying to like help me focus, and then I'd go into like the playlist to switch songs. When you go into Spotify, there's like a little banner, right, that says like, oh, your new artist like uploaded a new album. I'd see that and I'd be like, oh, that's really interesting. So I click on that, go onto YouTube and watch that music video. But then like on the sidebar you see the recommended video, so I end up watching like YouTube for 2 hours when all I wanted to do was literally just switch a task. So you can see the disconnect between what I actually wanted to do and how that ended up controlling me. This happens so often to you as well, right? Like for me, I remember I'd like get my phone to upload a document onto like my school website, but then I'd end up like clicking on a random notification and just ending up like watching a random thing when I didn't even want to. So on your phone right now, I'm going to quick fire some easy hacks that will 10 times your like productivity on these things. Firstly, on your phone, install ScreenZen and apply it to the apps that you use a lot. So what it does is this, like every time you try to open the app, it pops up with a message and asks you, do you really want to go on this? And so this stops your doom scrolling, because like say you were uploading your thing, you like mindlessly click on Instagram, suddenly you can like make your custom message. Mine says like wake the fuck up, but like you can kind of make it whatever you want, and it kind of makes you realize like, damn, I didn't want to do this. So a lot of the time you press that don't unlock button and you end up like not spending time on that app. Delete apps off your home screen that you don't want to use, so that they're still there. You're not deleting the app permanently, but they're not on your home screen for easy access. Turn on grayscale on your phone. This makes everything far less appetizing, and it's proven to decrease your screen time on average users by 4 times. Turn off all the notifications that you don't want to get notified by, and all this is adding extra layers of friction so that you're not going to mindlessly end up on these apps and let your phone control you. Open your computer, and for YouTube, install this unhook extension where it clears your sidebar and your home screen so that you have to search on what you want to watch. So it's not like YouTube's like force feeding you like stuff you want to watch. It's actually what you want. Procrastination is when you do something that's pleasurable right now, but it harms your future self. A really nice definition of procrastination that I found is a conflict between present you and future you. Present you wants to do the thing like that's easy, that's fun. It's a fight between future you, because for the future you know you have to do the delayed gratification, the thing that's better for like your output. The way to decrease procrastination is to break down the task into small chunks, because when you procrastinate, whether like you're just being lazy or the task seems too scary, when it's broken down into smaller chunks, suddenly suddenly it's much more manageable and you could approach it so it decreases laziness. For example, you have to go to the gym. That's something that like your lazy mind doesn't want to do, but your lazy mind can put on your headphones and put on your favorite tracks. It can't just like go and put your favorite shoes on. It can fill up your water bottle. When you take it step by step, it seems far less daunting. And also for the scary side of things, when we procrastinate because it seems too scary, the 5,000 word essay seems really scary, but when you break it up into like an introduction, paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a conclusion, suddenly it's much more manageable. The flow state also negates procrastination, because when you're in flow, you lose a sense of time and you enter flow and you experience peak enjoyment of the task and you can merge with the task. And so the 5th chapter is to count your wins. It's all about the bigger picture. Managing your time better isn't something that's gonna like happen overnight, but you've taken the biggest step possible to make the change, which is watching this video. Come back to this video like as much time as you need, because I dropped so many gems, and apply one thing at a time. And so you are able to use your time in a good way. Start valuing your time more. With your time, you could be doing so many good things. And so the bullshit things like social media, like scrolling, browsing, I don't know, like cat memes, like does anyone even do that anymore? Like on the internet, those things suddenly don't align to your purpose anymore. And once you start becoming aware of these things and seeing these things in a different light, you're far less likely to doing these bad things. Remember, don't compare yourself against the people who are productive like all of their days and manage their time really well. That's a mistake I always made. I watch all these like get ready with me 3 a.m. vlogs and I feel really demotivated because I struggle to get up at 7. If you spend for 8 hours on social media every single day, but you just drop that to 4, that's a massive achievement. It's the steps that matter to getting onto that track of managing our time better. Remember, the only difference between a top student and you is the ability to manage your time better. Remember, like one of the key points I said in this video is have your ideal timetable and where you are right now. Making a change each week that makes it look 1% closer to your ideal one. That's how you make progress. And look, whether you're watching this on your summer break and you want to use this to like get ahead for next year of school, or you have big exams coming up soon, I've got something for you. It's an exact step-by-step process that I took to go from struggling as a student to one of the best in my class while studying less than others. If that interests you, click the link below to watch a free masterclass I put together on it. And it's helping students all around the world and might just help you make an academic comeback. And we talk about all things such as like this, time management, how to do these things. And if you like this video, you probably enjoy learning from me. So really make sure to check that out because I'm sure you'll love it. It's pointless if you don't actually take action about what you learned today, because then it's just like tricking yourself into being productive when it's not. It's like self-improvement masturbation. As always, take action and I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this longer type of guide video. Bam.